I've just finished the setting of Psalm 104 that is also a praise psalm, but it sings of our belonging and the purpose of God unfolding in this world. So it's a very helpful psalm in teaching us a little bit of how praise and love are blended in us. It's a modern interpretation, but it's quite close to the original. I am awestruck, Holy One, at this beautiful and boundless universe, gestated over eons with love and care. Your creative intent envelops the world like a cloak. I see it shining in the heavens, hear it whispering in the winds, feel it crackling in the fire. For you energize the dust of the universe, the galaxies, planets, and stars, right down to this jewel of an earth. You birthed her like a golden babe from the fires under your heart. She cooled, wrapped herself in water and air. The waters receded, the mountains rose, storm-shaped and softened the land. And in time she gave birth to life in her seas. In the eons, life evolved into myriad forms, each with its own niche in your scheme. And with your love she taught each its place, its work, its song. And humankind you birthed us to. Gave us the world as our home, bread to eat, wine to gladden our hearts, herbs for healing, oil to soothe our skin. You gave us many songs, many powers, and put a restlessness in our hearts so we could seek you always. O Holy One, how manifold are your works. In your love and play, you have birthed them all and raised them up. I will sing your songs all of my days and care for all you have created, and keep my heart ever open to your love, and keep my heart with you. Amen. This is a blessing for peace by my friend Melinda Thomas. Strife is ever present and unending. Peace and love be with you. Anxiety resides in disturbance. Peace and love be with you. Nations rise and fall, neighbors and families divide. Peace and love be around you. Through it all there is a deeper presence. You see it in sunlight shimmering on water and casting a benediction upon treetops. You sense it in precious moments of loving embrace and quiet solitude. You know, peace and love are not to be taken for granted. They are to be cultivated in stillness, in word, and in deed. Bless this world with your gifts. Make yourself a safe space. Love begins with you. So our hearts recognize and yearn for love, for a very good reason. Love is the pathway home to God. Our religious traditions have taught us that God is love, and that love is the very gravitational force, the oneing, the unitive consciousness that holds the earth together in her watery, life-giving goodness, which is exploding all around us right now in this season of spring. From love we come, and to love we are returning. But like Adam and Eve, we live in these human suits. Life here on the earth plane has beauty and suffering. Life and death unfold right next to each other. We live in a shadow land of polarity. Here's a quote by Friedrich Buchner that describes it perfectly. "This is the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Do not be afraid. This is the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Do not be afraid." So we humans are conditional in our loving. We are free to act with love or without love. Unconditional love exists, but it's more akin to the direction of north and the way a compass works. Unconditional love is something that we are primed for. Our moral compass recognizes it as the true direction home. But just like how none of us live on the North Pole, in our daily lives we are both loving and unloving. But love always points the way to go. So in the Bible reading that we just heard, I'm going to paraphrase it in Simon Speak. Jesus says, "I'm about to face my trial and be taken from you. My ministry lives in you now. You must love one another and be love in the world. This is my ultimate instruction and charge, that you must love one another and demonstrate what love looks like." Although all of us yearn for love and we're drawn towards it like bees to flowers, many of us don't know how to love openly or freely because so many unloving things happen to us. And the ego wants to protect itself from being hurt by other people's lack of love. But Jesus asks us to let the scales fall away from our eyes and see heaven right here in the details of what happens on earth. You know the parable of the sower, where the farmer casts the seed and some of it gets gobbled up by birds on the path and some gets drowned out by weeds? Well, in that passage, he says, "Whoever has ears, let them hear." And he says, "Blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly, I tell you, many prophets and religious people long to see what you see, but you didn't see it. And they long to hear what you heard, but did not hear it." I think what he's saying there is none of us see the world as it really is. We can't see hindsight before it happens, or the unitive consciousness of all life weaving and merging with our own unique life. Because our heartbeat is just our heartbeat. And we're designed to be individual droplets of life. And we really do experience ourselves as separate, except for in those fleeting moments of what James Finley calls oceanic oneness. I love that, oceanic oneness. We know those moments. Like I remember holding my baby nephew for the first time, or that thing that happens when somebody touches you with love and care, especially somebody you haven't seen for a long time. They embrace you in their love. But it can also be placing that first still sun-warm blueberry that's not quite ready, it's still tart, in your mouth. That moment of being one with the growing year once again. I think Jesus, in his commandment to love, is reminding us to align with God our Mother, God our Father, the Creator. We're reminded to align with that in the details of all that happens in our lives. Remember, Jesus' time was terribly turbulent. They were persecuted terribly. He wasn't like, oh, everything's great, just love one another. I think this teaching is also in the church's work on repentance, actually. That word metanoia means to try on a larger mind. To turn and try on a larger mind. Because people sometimes hate you. And your stuff will get stolen. Japanese knotweed grows prolifically in my garden. Because life doesn't just evolve around me. And am I going to go off in a huff and separate myself off from the collective? Arguing with reality? You shouldn't steal from me. Well, the person did. I'm not going to get my stuff back. Or, rather than arguing with reality, are you going to reach out across the divide that separates you? The choice is ours. Rumi, that Persian Sufi poet, he said, love is the bridge between you and everything else. Leonardo da Vinci said, learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. Back to Rumi. Love is the bridge between you and everything else. But here's the thing. We learn about love by being loved, and sometimes also by not being loved. Father Keating, he was the guy that brought us centering prayer. Have any of you come across Father Keating or centering prayer? Cynthia Bourgeot teaches it a lot. It's a beautiful prayer practice where you have a word that you come back to in your 20 minutes of silence. And Father Keating said that we are blueprinted for love. It is literally baked into us. It's in our form, in our hearts, and in our DNA. But it needs to become active by being role modeled in other people. E.E. Cummings wrote it this way: we do not believe in ourselves until somebody reveals that something deep inside us is valuable, worth listening to, worthy of our trust, sacred to our touch. And once we believe in ourselves, we can risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals the human spirit. There's a beautiful Jewish creation story called Tikkun Olam that speaks of the nature of why love is hidden from us in this world. Tikkun means repair, and Olam means the world. So it's the story about the birth of the world or the repair of the world. And this story first appeared around the time of the Spanish Inquisition, when the Jewish people were being treated hideously. There is something about being treated without love and respect and dignity that kind of wakes up that holy no. No, I should not be treated like this. Anyway, here's the story of Tikkun Olam. This is Mirabai Starr. These are her words. There is a legend in mystical Judaism, and there are similar versions in other religions and indigenous wisdom traditions. There's this legend in which the Holy One, who is formless, undifferentiated, absolute, the Holy One longs to know itself. And so it creates this relative world that we know. The Holy One longed to know itself, so it poured its light into a series of vessels. But the intensity of that light was so great that they shattered, scattering shards of light and shards of darkness in all directions, which created all that is. From the original emptiness that is boundless plenitude, all forms came into being. Mirabai Starr, these are her words. She says, I call this the Jewish Big Bang. And then human beings were created with the task of gathering the shards of light and lifting them up and restoring the vessels to wholeness. Our task as human beings is to mend the broken world, to lift up those shards of light and rebuild those vessels and restore the wholeness to the cosmos. How do we do this? She asks. We do this with every act of loving kindness. The Scottish Episcopal Church has a beautiful passage in its Liturgy of Confession. God is love, and we are God's children. There is no room for fear in love. We love because God loved us first. God is love, and we are God's children. There is no room for fear in love. We love because God loved us first. But here's the missing piece that atheists name so perfectly. How can there be a loving God when evil things happen to innocent people? If you've been asked that before, I get asked that a lot. How can there be a God if evil things happen to innocent people? It's a good question. Atheists ask very good questions. But I'd like to say, let's look deeper and notice that it's us that creates evil and not Mother Nature, nor the source of life. True, death and illness are part of life, but evil is not. It's us. We have the choice to be loving or cruel. So are you going to align with love, the love that your heart recognizes, that you're drawn to? Or are you going to shut off and let the cruelty of others define you? Our Bible passage today clearly tells us to let love define us. Jesus says, "Follow me by being love. Demonstrate love. Choose this above all other things that happen to you." Now, as somebody who got Bible bashed severely as a young adult, I can tell you that people's words about faith mean nothing. You just switch off when people are telling you you're going to hell. But when people respond with love and care, when you see them feeding the homeless, when you see them praying gently outside of a military building, you notice that. Being love is the only true way of proselytizing. The Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this prayer. They don't publish the good news. The good news is published in us. They don't publish the good news. The good news is published in us. And we have a special edition every moment, and we need you to read it. The good news is that you are alive and that the linden tree is still there, standing firm in the harsh winter. The good news is that you have wonderful eyes to touch the blue sky. He goes on, it's a beautiful long poem, a prayer, but I think you get his message. You can't wait for love to find you. You need to be loved first. Because humans, and the way our mind works, is that we often notice love by its absence. The news is all about unloving. It horrifies us. Why? Because we have this moral compass pointing straight towards love. We are primed for it. Thank you for listening. In my closing, I want to point towards an example of what love in action looks like. And the example I'm going to use is my hero, St. Francis of Assisi. He is the world's most loved saint. And here's a poem inspired by him, a poem that Robert Holden wrote when he went to Assisi and went to visit all the sacred sites. Here's the poem. Good news, I got my invite, and I trust that you did too. The world is throwing a party again tonight. Planets and stars will hang like bunting from the ceiling. Bees will bring honey, cows and goats will bring milk, flowers will bring perfume, and each worm will bring a silken doily. Vegetables and minerals will sit on every table, grapes will make wine. Whales will recite sonnets from the deep, and dolphins will leap and play and have a great time. The wind and trees will make music, birds like the lark and dove will sing. All of God's creatures will bring a little something, and humans will bring love.